How's it? I'm driving a Ford Kuga to be exact, and a hot one. Not hot like in... So the Ford Kuga ST is, well, it's the Ford Kuga ST Line. It's not actually like an ST version of the Kuga. So it's an ST line, which means they've done a couple of cosmetic bits to this car. One of them is like there's a very black grille in the front. They've added 19-inch black wheels. They've added a black roof rail, and they've kind of tinted the lights front and back. So it's basically like a souped up version of the Kuga, and they've called it the ST line. They've also dropped the suspension on this car slightly, which does give it better road handling. Interestingly enough, they've not actually tweaked the engine, so there's no performance upgrade on this. It's a 2-litre 177 kilowatt engine producing 350 newton meters of torque. Pretty decent in sport mode. It goes quite nicely, especially off the line. And this is just tweaking the car. Is when you're in like low speeds, I'm talking sort of sub 30 kilometers an hour, and you step on it, like there's a lot that happens quickly. And that's kind of where you want it, especially as a car you're going to drive in traffic every day. Top end speed is fun sometimes, but when you're kind of nipping around town, it's more useful to have instant performance when you need it. So it's quite a cool car to drive, and I have noticed a lot of people looking at it. So to me, the entire concept of a Ford Kuga ST line is interesting, because I suppose as SUVs become more and more popular, people want souped up versions of their SUVs. That's exactly what Ford have built here. Price point here is about 550,000 Rand. This one, with a couple of optional extras like the sunroof and a few other bits and pieces, comes in at about 620,000 Rand, which you may think is a lot of money for a Ford Kuga. But when you consider the competition, like performance-ish SUVs are significantly more than 550,000 Rand. So on the outside, the Kuga ST actually looks pretty solid. It's a well-designed SUV. Nothing to complain about there. The drive is good. The 177 kilowatts, as I said, is more than enough to kind of want in this car. The drop suspension does mean the handling is better than like in a normal Kuga. And then on the inside, there are a couple of really cool bits and pieces. So let's talk about the cool stuff. It's got a nice leather steering wheel. It's got a multifunctional steering wheel, which allows you to control a lot of the computer stuff, volume, radio. It's got radar guided cruise control with knobs on the steering wheel to enable that. It's got Apple CarPlay. It's got Sync version 3. It responds. The screen is actually really responsive. It's a good screen. Allows you to pinch and zoom and a few other bits and pieces. In the center console, there's like a little coin slot, but the coin slot itself actually has like a little rubber inset. So if you put coins in there, it's not rubbing up against the plastic and like making a clunky noise. You've kind of got rubber to soften the noise. It's like really clever. In the back, there's a charging port that does 220 volts and 150 watts. So you can actually charge like your laptop in there. Heck, you can plug a multi-plug in there and plug everybody's phones in. And then there are a couple of things in this car which are a bit of a letdown. But I suppose every car has that. You kind of, no matter how much you like the car and how much the car grows on you, there just are things that could have been better. There's quite a lot of, so the dashboard has like a really good rubber feel to it, and then the center console's like really cheap. The layout of the dash is a bit interesting to me. This gear lever is in the perfect position for my hand, except it's not a manual and I'm not shifting gears. That could have like gotten out of the way and maybe had a bit more space for my phone and keys and a few bits and pieces. There are quite a lot of knobs around the aircon. There are a lot of buttons, and I'm like, kind of look at it and you're trying to figure out what buttons to press and what buttons not to press. So that's a little bit, like, you could clean that up quite nicely. And then the location combination of the screen. In front of the screen you have the volume control and a whole bunch of radio buttons. The amount of times I've reached in to tap the screen with my phone plugged in to operate Apple CarPlay, and I've rested my hand on the volume control. So I've got music playing, I reach in to change some navigation or touch something, and I bump the volume and my music goes away. It just ergonomically doesn't quite work. You sort of want the screen out and raised a little bit. So this could possibly use a little bit more thought and slightly better materials, I think, especially when you're spending 600,000 Rand on a car. I don't know what this guy's doing. And why is everybody looking at the water? But as a package and for the price, and really because there's nothing else out there, maybe the Tiguan R line, but that'll be a little bit more expensive. Like what you're getting here for your 550,000 Rand is actually very good. It's good power, it's good performance, it's actually a really good ride. The handling's superb, it's accurate, there's good feedback on the wheels, the brakes are very good. This is a good car, this really is a good car. Internal plastic bits aside, I've actually really grown to like this little Kuga. And as I said, it looks good as well. Like you can't not like a car that looks good, right? Would I live with one of these every single day? I would, except there is one Achilles heel to this car. In town, and when you're driving like this, it is quite heavy on fuel. I'm getting about 12 liters per 100, which is quite high. I have an Audi S4, which is a 4.2 liter naturally aspirated V8, which got like 12. So that's a lot for a 2 liter engine. I suspect though, if you got this car in the diesel option, there's a 2 liter diesel option as well, you'd have more torque, probably feel more powerful, and as a result of the diesel, probably be more economical as well. So yeah, toss up between petrol and diesel and what you want. Thanks for watching. That's it for the Ford Kuga ST Line. It's a good little car. Take it for a drive.